Good morning. So I've got this set up and I'm going to now turn on our Instagram. So bear with me a sec and then we'll get into our yin. Yin is good stuff. All right. We're now live. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. It is Monday, July 13th, and we are going to play with yin this morning. Take a moment. We are going to be doing some pretty good opening of the ankles, a little bit of playing with our toes. So grab, I've got a bolster and a blanket. So if you want to, grab a pillow off the couch, whatever you need so that we can stack up and keep you company or comfortable. All right, so get your toys and we'll get started. I'm going to have a couple sips of water while we wait. Okay, so we are going to be working on why you get bolsters, blocks. I have to get my blocks. Don't move. That was a good noise. All right, bolsters, blocks, blankets, pillows. Grabbing those. This morning we are working on the stomach. And the stomach is a fu organ, which is yang, right? So it's a receptor. It's hollow, right? Yin would be not hollow, solid. And the counterpart to the stomach, that is its yin, is the spleen. And it actually works with the emotions of worry and creativity. And I thought that would be fun to play with and kind of tap into creativity and get rid of worry. So let's drop in, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the meridian lines we're going to play with after we drop in. Deal. So find yourself getting comfortable, and we're going to lie down on the ground. Take a moment to let me move this. Take a moment to find the right shape for your body, okay? So for some of us, we have a pretty tender back. So the knees bent is beautiful. Knees together, feet a little wider so that your knees just kind of brace against each other. Some people like to come into reclined cobbler's pose, Supta Baddha Konasana, because it's comfortable to them. So go wherever is comfortable. We're going to be here for about 3 or so minutes, maybe more, depending on how slow I'm moving. And then once you find your body in a form that's comfortable, take a few breaths. Become aware of the points of your body that touch the earth, that are connecting to the earth, and just let those points kind of drop in. What does that mean? Relax. You know, the back of the head can get really heavy into the ground or the earth. Backs of the hands, the elbows, the heels. Shoulder blades. And then inhale through your nose deeply and exhale nice and out your mouth. So inhaling and exhaling, maybe 4 or 5 times like that. And one more good time.
Let's start to become aware of the breath in the body. What parts of your body rise and expand as you inhale and soften and contract as you exhale? Becoming aware of the ribs, the side of the body, the back, the belly, the chest. And just stay here. Focusing on just that subtle movement in your body, in the torso. And we're going to focus on that for about 2 minutes. Just the breath, not controlling, but that feeling of expansion and release. Expansion and release as it happens. Know that your mind might wander, and it's okay if the mind wanders. Just bring it back to the sensation of the breath as it naturally happens. I'm going to be here for about another minute. On your next exhale, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and you're going to roll over to your right side and then press yourself up. So the first pose we're going to play with is Anahastasana, which is melting heart. And we're going to be here for 3 minutes. So in melting heart, we're going to start in our tabletop. And I call it puppy dog. So it's really letting the chest hammock. So you're going to walk your arms ahead of you as much as you can, and then let the chin or the forehead, some people can get the chest on the ground. If this kind of pose really doesn't feel good, you can also take your arms wider. We are going to be here for 3 minutes, and I've started our process. So right like this. So you're going to feel a stretch in the chest, and that stretch in the chest is the stomach And that's really, and the spleen, and that's what we're playing with today. So part of that meridian does go into that chest stretch. And remember, you can come onto your chin, you can come onto the chest. The spinal compression, because we've got a little bit of a curve going on right here, that spinal compression is your urinary bladder. And those arms long out in front of you, that is your heart and lung. And we're just going to pause here and tap back into sensation. Let that chest hammock. So let it hang. And focus on the sensation in your body. Letting go. Stay inside. Try not to let the mind wander. It's going to, but stay with it. Stay with sensation. Let that chest release towards the earth. Lower back has a gentle arch. Slowly from here, use your hands to push yourself up and come into a child's pose. In your child's pose, I'm going to tell you about our meridians, and then we'll go into our second pose. So this is a lower meridian pose, or stomach. It begins at the side of your nose, of all places, and then descends along the side of the nose and enters the upper gums, follows the lips to the lower jaw, so at the joint of the jaw. And then there's two branches. One of them ascends along the line of the ear to the forehead. And another descends through the diaphragm and runs into the stomach and the spleen. So that arch that we were doing, our stretch in our chest, is part of that second branch I was just talking about. And the second, and then there's actually a third branch, and that emerges from the lower jaw and runs across the outside of the body, crossing the chest and the belly. Here we go again. And ends in the groin. It is at this point that the second branch, that's in the stomach and the diaphragm, and the third branch meet in that space. And they both run along the front of the leg to the top of the foot. At the top of the foot, we have another split. The main branch ends outside the big toe. The second branch reaches the inside of the big toe. And then just below the knee, I think it's the big toe. It might be a different toe. I have to check that. Just below the knee, another branch splits off and runs. Yeah, that's where it is. Just below the knee, another branch splits off and runs to the outside of the third toe. So you've got big toe, third toe. A lot of chest action coming in right around the groin and the front of the legs. Okay, so playing with that, I want you to come out of your child's pose and come onto the side of your body, propping yourself up on an elbow. And we're gonna do cat pulling its tail for 4 minutes. So I'm gonna set our timer. And then to get into this, we've done this before. You can choose to stay up on your left forearm. Top leg is my right leg, and I'm gonna reach it out. And this bottom leg, I bend and reach back, right, to grab onto the foot. So what I'm getting by doing that is this nice stretch. I'm gonna start this right now. A nice stretch in the front of the left thigh or the bottom leg thigh. And that's part of that meridian we're playing with. As you notice, I've just lied down and I'm rotating, opening through the chest. Remember, there's part of our meridian lines that do go into the diaphragm and the stomach, and we're playing with that. So, stomach spleen, we're really hitting when we activate the front of the thigh. So that's where we are right now. And as we lie here, you can bend this top leg or decrease the amount of that stretch. And then really just let the back open naturally. And not tugging too hard on this bottom leg. Did I start our timer? Yep. About 3 more minutes. And I'm going to be quiet now. And we'll continue on. Stay with the letting go of control, letting the muscles soften. Slowly release, come onto that side and then roll onto the back. Pausing here, just letting the spine come back to a neutral for a few breaths. And then bring the knees to the chest. Few breaths here. Just letting that back release. We're gonna roll over to our side, push yourself up, and start with that opposite side. So you're gonna come onto your right side if you're on your left, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna line myself up nicely, and I'm gonna start on my forearm. And then I'm gonna reach my left leg, my top leg out, bend my bottom leg, and grasp it with my top hand. And then I'm gonna just let myself ease. I find for me, that's just me, as I turn my head to the left or the back leg, I get a better stretch in the front of that thigh. So I'm gonna first start a timer if we're gonna hang out here, so bear with me. Done. So we're here for 4 minutes, cat pulling its tail. And so the sensation we're feeling at the front of the thigh, which is my right thigh, my bottom leg, is the stomach and the spleen, which is what we're working on. And when our back is arched and twisted, that's the urinary bladder and the kidney. And I think we played with the urinary bladder last week. Twist felt on the side of it was the gallbladder. Twist felt on the side of the rib cage is the gallbladder. Okay, so we've got our stomach, spleen, urinary bladder, kidney, and gallbladder. And now we're just gonna hang out, letting go. If you're finding yourself gripping your jaw, take the tip of the tongue and put it behind the top front teeth. And then try your darndest to let go of that control of shape. And as you let go of that control, observe how the body shifts and changes, both sensation and shape. Gently release, roll onto the back again. And then, excuse me, bring the knees to the chest when you're ready. Nice and relaxed. Take a few few deep breaths. Soften through the shoulders. Then roll to your side and sit up for me. So we're going to come into straddle, or saddle, which is straddle. And in saddle, you actually sit between your calves. So it looks like that. Okay, so I'm sitting between both my feet. For some people, this is not comfortable. It's not okay with your knees. So you can use a brick to sit on, which will decrease that tension. In the front of the knees, you could use a blanket or a pillow. So take a moment and get what you need. All right. And I am going to create a little something for myself. So we do want a sensation in the front of the knee, because remember we talked about that breaking off a bit. There we go. And then if you want to, as you progress, you can lean back without much of an arch. Okay, we're going to be here for 3 minutes while I fiddle fart around. Let's get you guys rolling. All right, you ready? There we go. So nice and relaxed, toes relaxed. We're just going to be here 3 minutes. Hands, sometimes what I'll do is I'll put my right hand, my palms up, right hand on top of my left, thumbs touching, and just release my hands into my lap. So this saddle, or hero's pose, is going to hit the stomach, spleen, urinary bladder, and kidney. So again, remember we talked about this branching off and sliding down the knee in our meridian. Just below the knee, another line splits off, runs to the lateral side of the third toe. So here we are, hitting it. Now I'm going to be quiet. Nice and relaxed, just breathing. Feel free to close your eyes to kind of shut out one of those senses. I know for me that's really distracting when my eyes are open because I want to see everything. So to get out of this, we're going to lie on our back again, neutralizing the spine, taking it easy.
Okay. Straighten the legs. Feeling that? And then take a moment. I'm going to go check out our next pose. So stay here for just a few breaths. Feel free to reach. Don't fall back asleep. Although it is a nice morning to do so. Temperature's gorgeous. And then if you want to, bring your knees to your chest and pause. So grab onto the back of the thighs and pull. So not so much focus on that compression of the knees. And then roll to your side. We're going to come into a toe squat. So remember, part of that meridian we talked about was going into the feet, the top of the feet, and then branching off outside, inside, big toe, and part of that third toe. So we're going to come into a toe squat. And that's basically this. Okay, so I'm up on my toes and I'm squatting. For some people, this is not very comfortable. If you would like to, you can put a little support underneath your heels. All right, so we're going to be here for 2 minutes. Do the best you can to stay upright and balance. And I'm telling you, if you can get a little support underneath the heels for that balance, so you can relax into the compression of the toes. Take yourself a little wider if you want to. Actually, stop. Get on out of this. I went the wrong way. So, we're going to restart. I really am sorry. So to do this, it's much more gnarly than I gave us. I was giving us an ankle compression, and I don't want that yet. So you're going to actually sit back on your heels, tuck all your toes under, right? And now we're really getting those toes instead of the ankles. So I'm starting our timer again. You do not have to stay here the whole time. So you're sitting back on your heels, toes are tucked under, and you feel this yummy stretch. This is fairly intense. If you want to decrease some of that intensity, lean slightly forward. Okay. It's a lot on the body. If it doesn't feel good, big picture-wise, get out of it. All right, I'm going to be quiet. About another minute. "20 seconds. Remember, get out of this when you need to. And when you get out of it, just come into a child's pose. And then everybody come into that child's pose. Just briefly, and we're going to come directly into an ankle stretch. So just a few breaths in child's pose. And remember, if it's comfortable, your legs can be wide as your big toes touch. And
And then I'll show you what the ankle stretch is. So we're going to be seated again like this. And we're going to lean back, lift the knees, right? If this doesn't suit you, I'd like you to stay in child's pose. So this really is a stretch in the front of the foot. I'm starting our timer now because we can. And I'm just going to come here. Okay, long spine, gentle stretch, tops of the feet. If it hurts, go back to your child's pose. So this is a really nice ankle stretch as well. So this is hitting our stomach and our spleen, our liver, and our gallbladder. Try to relax. This should not hurt. If it does, come into child's pose like I said. Pain is not an option. About 10 seconds. All right, so how do we get out of this? I want you to put your hands forward, right? And you're going to step one leg back, tuck the toes under, second leg back, tuck the toes under, and here's our alternative. We're just going to come into a nice plank for a few breaths. Tucking the toes, reaching the heels. A couple more breaths. Nice. Then take the knees down. We're going to come into Sphinx for 4 minutes. And if you don't want to go to Sphinx and you can go deeper than that, you're going to come into Seal. So Sphinx is going to be basically, Sphinx is basically going to be just like this, okay? My elbows are underneath my shoulders. And again, just like the first pose we did, I'm going to let my chest hammock. So let it just release. For some people who are really comfortable and open, you can straighten the arms and coming into a deeper pose, a deeper opening. And it's quite a compression in the lower back. So wherever you are, know you're going to be here for a little bit, so don't start to really press into that lower back. For some of us, this is where it will be. Everything's going to relax, release. So we're getting a stretch again in that chest. So we're getting the stomach, spleen, urinary bladder, kidney. If you've got your arms out and are stimulating through that, that could be part of the heart and lung. And then that compression that we feel in our lower back stimulates the kidney and the adrenal glands. And we've talked about the Jing organ before. That energy, not organ, but it's an energy that we're born with, right? And this can help renew that. About another minute. Feel free to open up the chest even deeper, lifting up onto the hands, straightening the arms if it's available to you. If it's not, stay where you are. Gently press back into a child's pose, just briefly. And then we're going to come into a down dog to transition to our next pose. So just pause. Our next pose is going to be sleeping swan. So I'd like you to reach your arms out from child's pose, reach your arms out in front of you, and then tuck your toes under. Now, sleeping swan is basically pigeon. Okay, so we're going to be careful with pigeon, knowing that if you need support, you can put something underneath the front leg hip. So on an inhale, you're going to take that right leg, start to shift forward, right? And right ankle, left wrist, right knee, right wrist. And you're going to come here and then lie down. So for a lot of people, this is an awfully big stretch. And a really nice way to ease and soften into it is find yourself with a blanket or a bolster, whatever works for you, supporting. And then you come here. So it's nice you do get all these yummy sensations. We're going to be in this pose for 3 minutes. So lots of sensation. We are getting that knee again where that branch is, correct? And we're compressing through the belly, getting the stomach and spleen, liver and kidney, gallbladder and urinary bladder. Now, if you tip to one side, that's fabulous. That means you're just letting the body do its thing. If you don't, that's cool too. Still letting the body do its thing. Just let go of that control. Halfway there. about 20 seconds. Using your arms, lifting up your chest. Let's move this blanket. To get out of this, you're going to tuck the left toes under, lift the thighs, step the right leg back. And from your plank, come to your down dog. Just pause here. Feel free to shake out this right leg a little bit if you wish to. Couple breaths, and then we're going to come into that pose one more time. So on an inhale, prepare the left leg, and as you exhale, left leg steps, or left knee, left wrist, left ankle, right wrist. Come into it. Grab that blanket if you need it. And if this starts to bother the knee, bend this knee more, right? So you're not torquing it so much. And you can always decrease that angle of pressure on the knee. And finally, if this doesn't feel good, and I really should have mentioned this last time, come on, buddy. You can come into a figure four on the floor, which would look like left ankle on the thigh here. And what's also useful is using a wall for that right foot as you bend into that leg. And actually, this is what I'm going to do because it feels so much better on my knees. So wherever you are, let yourself relax. If your foot is against the wall, notice that you really have to nudge yourself in to get a little action so you can relax. I think I set the timer. So let the body shift at its own will. I did set it, about 10 more seconds. Okay, for those of you who are in a traditional swan or pigeon, slide your hands underneath you and lift yourself up. Tuck the right toes under, lift the thighs, step back with that left leg. All right, and there you are in a plank, and then come into your down dog briefly. For those of us up against the wall, you're going to roll to your side, come to a tabletop, and then come to your down dog, feeling free to shake out that left leg a bit. And then when you're ready, we are going to come into our twist. I love a good twist. On an inhale, come up on your toes, bend the knees, just come into a tabletop. All right, how are we doing on time? Awesome. And then you're gonna just come to seated. Sitting in the middle of the mat, lie yourself back down, and we're gonna stay for 2 minutes in the twists. So you're gonna bend the knees, and then come into that twist. So you're taking both knees over to the left, and you can turn to the right. If this doesn't feel good, you can also straighten the the bottom leg and come into a twist as such. I'm just looking for any kind of twist that's going to feel good for about 2 minutes, and I'm starting our timer. Arms can be up if you want to work on that heart and lung meridian. They can be by your side. And again, letting go. You should have sensation, but the sensation should not be painful. About 30 seconds. And then bring the knees back to center, straighten the spine so you're aligned again. And taking the knees to the same position as your previous twist, coming to that opposite side. And again, letting the body dictate the form, not your perceived shape or what you think the form should be. So really letting go. Knees are not going to be stacked. If they are, more power to you. And you're just resting. And then come gently onto your back. Find yourself comfortable lying down, letting the arms rest, palms up, legs flat. And prior to coming into that Shavasana, just scan the body. See what it's up to now. Just what sensations are you feeling? Observing. And then come into that Shavasana, focusing on the sensation of your breath, just like we did at the beginning of class. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Have a fabulous Monday. Namaste.